You know, there's a little test doctors sometimes use that can tell you a lot about your health, and it only takes 3 seconds. Just 3 seconds. It's not a blood test or a scan. It's something much simpler, standing on one leg. That's it. If you can balance on one foot for just 3 seconds, research shows you might have a better shot at living a longer, healthier life. But if that sounds tricky right now, don't worry. That's exactly why we're here today. I'll let you in on a little secret. Balance isn't just about avoiding slips and falls, though that's important too. It's about keeping your body strong, your mind sharp, and your independence intact. And the good news? No matter your age, you can improve your balance with a few simple exercises. So today we're going to walk through that 3-second balance test, how to do it safely, what it means, and most importantly, 5 easy exercises to help you pass it with confidence. And trust me, these aren't complicated moves. They're things you can do right at home, no fancy equipment needed. Now, before we jump into the exercises, let's talk about why balance matters so much as we get older. You see, every time you stand up from a chair, walk up the stairs, or even just turn around in the kitchen, your body relies on balance. When that starts to slip, it's not just about the risk of falling, it's about losing the freedom to move through your day with ease. But here's the thing, balance is a skill, and like any skill, it can be improved with practice. So let's start with the first exercise, and this one's so simple, you might already be doing it without realizing. It's called the standing weight shift. All you need is a sturdy chair or countertop to hold onto if you'd like a little extra support. Stand with your feet hip-width apart and slowly shift your weight onto one foot, just enough to lift the other heel slightly off the ground. Hold for a few seconds, then shift to the other side. That's it. You're teaching your body how to control its weight distribution, which is the foundation of good balance. Now, the second exercise builds on that. It's called the toe tap. Still standing tall, lift one foot just an inch or two off the ground and tap your toes forward, then back to center. Alternate sides. If you need to hold on to something, that's perfectly fine. This isn't about pushing yourself to the point of wobbling, it's about small, controlled movements that add up over time. And here's something to remember. It's not about how long you can hold these positions at first. It's about doing them consistently. Even just a minute or two a day can make a difference. Now, before we move on to the next exercises, let's talk about that 3-second test. Try it when you're feeling steady, maybe near a counter or wall for support. Lift one foot slightly off the ground and see if you can hold it for 3 seconds. If you can, that's wonderful. If not, that's okay too. It just means we've got some fun work to do together. And speaking of work, let's keep going. The next exercises will help you build even more strength and stability, so you can feel confident on your feet every single day. Now that we've started with those gentle weight shifts and toe taps, let's take it up just a tiny notch. Not too much, just enough to keep things interesting. The key here is progress, not perfection. You don't have to be a gymnast or a yoga master to improve your balance. Small, steady steps are what make the real difference over time. So, our third exercise is called the side leg lift. This one is fantastic for strengthening those hip muscles, which are like your body's natural stabilizers. Here's how you do it. Stand tall behind a sturdy chair, holding onto the back for support if you'd like. Slowly lift one leg out to the side, just a few inches, keeping your toes pointing forward. Hold for a second or two, then lower it back down. That's 1 rep. Do a few on each side. And if lifting your leg feels too challenging at first, no problem. Just shifting your weight to one side and hovering the other foot slightly off the ground still works wonders. Now, you might be thinking, why does lifting my leg to the side matter? Well, think about how often you step sideways in daily life, getting out of the car, reaching for something in a cupboard, or even just adjusting your stance. Those little movements rely on strong, stable hips. And the stronger they are, the easier it is to catch yourself if you ever start to lose your balance. Alright, let's move on to our fourth exercise, the heel-to-toe walk. This one might remind you of a sobriety test, but it's actually one of the best ways to practice balance in motion. Here's how it works. Find a hallway or a clear path where you can take a few steps safely. Place one foot directly in front of the other so the heel of your front foot touches the toes of your back foot. Take a few steps this way as if you're walking on a tightrope, but keep your arms out to the sides for balance if needed. If this feels too tricky at first, no worries, just shorten the distance between your feet or hold onto a wall for support. This exercise does 2 important things. First, it sharpens your coordination, and second, it strengthens the tiny muscles in your feet and ankles that help keep you steady. And here's a fun tip. Try doing this near a counter or table so you can lightly touch it if you need a little extra reassurance. Now, I know some of these moves might feel a bit unfamiliar at first, and that's completely normal. Balance is like a language. The more you practice, the more fluent you become. And the beauty of these exercises is that they're not just about passing that 3-second test. They're about making everyday movements, like bending down to pick up the mail or turning to talk to a friend, feel effortless again. But before we wrap up this section, I want to remind you of something important. Listen to your body. If an exercise feels too shaky or uncomfortable today, it's okay to modify it or even skip it and try again tomorrow. This isn't a race. It's about building confidence at your own pace. And speaking of confidence, our fifth and final exercise is one that ties everything together, helping you feel steadier, stronger, and ready to take on that balance test with ease. So let's keep going and I'll show you how to put it all into practice. Now, we've made it to the fifth and final exercise, and this one is my personal favorite because it brings everything together. It's called the single leg stand with support. Remember that 3-second balance test we talked about at the beginning? This exercise is your secret weapon to mastering it. Here's how to do it safely. Stand near a counter, sturdy chair, or wall so you can lightly rest your fingertips on it for stability. Shift your weight onto one leg, then slowly lift the other foot just an inch or two off the ground. Hold for as long as you comfortably can, even if it's just for a second or two at first. Then gently lower your foot back down. Over time, you'll be able to hold it longer, and eventually, you might not even need the support. What's beautiful about this exercise is that it mimics real-life movements, like stepping into a pair of pants or getting out of the shower. The more you practice, the more natural these moments will feel. And here's a little motivation. One study found that older adults who could balance on one leg for at least 10 seconds had a significantly lower risk of falls in the following years. That's the power of just a few seconds a day. Now, before we wrap up, let's quickly revisit all 5 exercises so you can see how they work together. 1. The standing weight shift teaches your body to control weight distribution. 2. The toe tap improves coordination and ankle stability. 3. The side leg lift strengthens your hips for better sideways movement. 4. The heel-to-toe walk sharpens balance while in motion. 5. The single leg stand prepares you for that 3-second test and beyond. The best part? You don't need to do these for hours. Just a few minutes a day, maybe while you're waiting for the kettle to boil or during a TV commercial break, can make a world of difference. And if you stick with it, you might be surprised at how quickly your balance improves. So, here's my challenge to you. Try that 3-second balance test again in a few weeks after practicing these exercises. I bet you'll notice a difference. And when you do, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Let me know which exercise helped you the most or if you have your own favorite balance tip to share. Remember, aging might be inevitable, but losing your balance doesn't have to be. Small, consistent efforts add up to big results. And more importantly, they help you keep doing the things you love safely and confidently. If you found this helpful, give this video a like so others can discover it too, and don't forget to subscribe for more simple, practical tips to stay strong and independent at any age. Here's to standing tall and living life on your terms. Until next time, keep moving, keep balancing, and keep enjoying every step of the journey. You've got this.